Hi everyone, my name is Trevor Gordon. I'm with the Canadian Epilepsy Alliance. Today I'm very excited to have a conversation, a chat with someone that has done a lot for epilepsy awareness, creating the conversation of epilepsy awareness and helping with doing different things with respect to auctions, etc. His name is Anthony Carelli, better known by the ring name Santino Marella. He is a Canadian professional wrestler and judoka. He is currently signed to Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, TNA, where he works as an on-screen director of authority. He is best known for his 11-year tenure with the WWE. He is the founder of and instructor at Battle Arts Academy, a martial arts and professional wrestling training facility in Mississauga, Ontario. He is also the official ambassador of Judo Canada. I'm just waiting for him to join us. And while we wait for him to join the lobby, I just want to brag about him a little more. Anthony also has a daughter, Bianca, who is currently signed to the WWE, where she performs on the Next brand under the ring name Ariana Grace. So while we wait for Anthony to join us, I want to brag a little bit about what he's done. He's raised awareness for Epilepsy Shop, an online clothing store. He's donated wrestling booths, which is kind of cool, to one of our local epilepsy organizations. And he also created a 30-second commercial that I would like to talk to him about. And all right, let's line up our shots. There we go. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I have to start off by our interesting, I wrote this down. I want to start off by saying my interesting connection to both you and your daughter. Look at this cool photo from back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So that's myself. Obviously, you recognize yourself in the middle. Our mutual friend, Tara.
Yeah.
And then this was, I think, from 2013.
No way.
Maybe, yeah, 2013. But I got to meet you through my friend Tara. I met your daughter. She was a hair model back in the day. So then fast forward, I work at an epilepsy organization, and we sent you an email, and you were kind enough to donate wrestling boots for one of our auctions, which was a big hit. But before I get into that, I have to admit my fandom of wrestling. You've trained wrestlers in Japan, you've trained athletes from Venezuela, you founded and sponsored a Canadian junior hockey team, you're a Sportsnet analyst. I mean, is there anything left for you to do?
Well, right now I have also my little kids. You know, my daughter's 3 and my son is turning 6 in October. So I'm really just enjoying this incredible time in my life where I get to be a dad, and it's some of the consistently greatest days of my life are right now. And in 2020, you know, COVID kind of prompted us to move up north. So we live up by Wasaga Beach area, close to Wasaga Beach in Tiny Township. And it's just incredible, man. It's incredible. You can see in the back, I don't know, we got chickens out there, and we go kayaking, and just a great place to raise kids. And it's awesome, man.
Your finishing move, again, I'm admitting my fan of wrestling here. Your finishing move was the Cobra. I'm curious, what was your connection to snakes? I don't know if you've been asked that question before. I apologize. I was Googling, doing all this research. But what's your connection to cobras?
Well, there's no connection. It's actually, I was in Japan. I lived in Japan in most of 2004. And there was a gentleman named Taro who was a friend of ours. And he would just, he showed me this thing where he transforms his arm into this little snake puppet thing. And that was it. It was just simple as that. And then 5 years later, I just remembered it one time. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to try something. So during one of my matches, I was like doing a comeback. And then I just did the Cobra. And the audience immediately responded and laughed. And it was well received. So we kept it, and then I did it for like a year, I think, or maybe more without the sleeve. And then we introduced the sleeve, in hopes of selling merchandise. And it actually is a better part of the presentation, putting it on and stuff. But yeah, there's no, no real connection with snakes. I was afraid of snakes, but since I moved up north, I caught and picked up my own snake. My first, I never picked up a snake before.
I did. I wanted to ask that because my girlfriend, full disclosure, is afraid of snakes. So I was just curious when I saw that I was doing this interview, Cobra. I'm like, I bet you there's an interesting connection to snakes. The one other question I wanted to ask you before we move on from wrestling is, like, what's next for you in the wrestling world? I see that you're now doing the crossover now with the WWE, and now this role, and now doing stuff with your daughter. Like, what's sort of coming up with for you? And it's really exciting to see all these updates I've been seeing.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I finally have achieved this level of balance that I've never had before. Where with home life and work life. So it's not 250, 300 days on the road. It's several days on the road. Um, you know, Sometimes it's 10 days a month, but that's 20 days at home. So that's really I'm really happy with that. And just steady as she goes, man. I love entertaining. I love producing television. Um, in the future, I would like to, also produce a little more, maybe coach. And I mean, I don't have a vision really past that right now, besides coaching and producing and being an on-screen talent. I'm going to get some stem cells next month in Mexico to hopefully, restore my health a little better to the point where I can wrestle, maybe once every other month, kind of thing. Just some fun matches. Nothing like really serious and really intense.
So I was going through this one article, 10 interesting facts about yourself. And the one thing that obviously stands out is you're a judo and professional wrestling trainer. Talk about that a little bit, because I feel like everyone talks about the fun part of you, the funny aspects, and all your funny, amazing segments, but you're a judo and professional wrestling trainer. Uh,
Yeah, they're separate. Like like I was coaching. I coached for 10 years at Battle Arts, and judo. I started judo at age 9, and I was a part of the Judo Ontario program, Judo Canada, and I moved to Montreal for university where I trained. I was on the national team and competed internationally a little bit. And then Bianca came along when I was in university, so life got a little bit of a detour with regards to judo, anyway. But no, then I coached for years, and now judo is pretty hard. It's very explosive, and it requires a lot of explosive power. So it's a little hard to do. So I just started doing jujitsu this year. It's new. There's a lot of different things, but a lot of judo skills are transferable, and I enjoy it. So yeah, grappling is it's so good, to maintain that level of health and athleticism, and whether it's jujitsu, judo, or wrestling, those grappling sports are really good for you, to help keep you strong.
as I now segue into epilepsy conversation, I was doing a little research about martial arts and epilepsy, and a name Evan Molly came in my Google search. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you or not, but he's an athlete who uses martial arts to fight epilepsy. He actually represented Great Britain at the world's largest sporting event for the partially sighted. He also was in the Pan Am Games. You and I are not doctors or neurologists, but what do you think the importance is of maybe exercise in someone that might have epilepsy?
I mean, I don't know of a case in which exercise is not a good thing, whether it's strengthening your heart, your lungs, and of course the neural pathways and connections from the brain to the body. Movement is medicine, motion is lotion. All those terms, they're all correct and they're all accurate. Uh, it's a little more difficult for some people to get moving, but movement and to keep moving is the goal.
And this is not to put you on the spot, but did you know anything about epilepsy before you and I met that time where you were kind enough to donate those wrestling boots? Like, do you have any
Just
like?
from kids, just from kids in school, growing up and, kind of asking and, what's wrong with this kid? I shouldn't say wrong, but what does this kid have? And you know, how can we facilitate, integrate, and do all the things to make them have a normal and natural uh, academic experience at school?
Why did you want to do this? You probably get approached by 1,000,005 charities, and I mean, I'm biased to our charity, of course, but there's obviously many important causes out there. Why were you kind enough to sort of do this video, and what did you have any sort of connection to that word, or are you just a good guy? Like, I just, it just seemed like you must get bombarded by things like this.
Not so much. You'd be surprised that for some people, um, to reach some people is the difficult part, and because we had a mutual friend, that was our connection. And for people that don't have that mutual friend, they kind of don't have the connection, and I do this charity stuff. I do some Parkinson's stuff and anti-bullying stuff. And so when someone's super busy, you have to kind of make it easier for them to contribute. And like, I can't seek out charities, but if they come to me and it's going to be something easy, of course, and this was easy, donating something, a little video. It's really not an inconvenience and what I mean by inconvenience is people that are so busy sometimes just don't have the time, but you help make it really easy to help, and that's why really.
You cut out for part of that, but I did hear most of that answer. But I'm going to get you to sort of answer it in another way, in the sense of, why do you think it's important for celebrities such as yourself to raise awareness for various causes such as epilepsy? I mean, you could carry, like, many people in your position aren't doing that. So why do you think a person of your stature, you're not only a celebrity, but you're obviously a sports athlete, you run a business, like, why do you think it's important for a public figure such as yourself to raise awareness for our organization, for any cause?
Yeah, so especially these days, people have that algorithm, and you're constantly being fed the information that you want to see. And this might be some information that you normally would not see, but if you follow a particular influencer or celebrity, they might bring that into your line of sight, in which maybe it wouldn't have been brought in normally. So it's just really good to literally raise awareness and for the masses.
I know you might not know this, but that video, I mean, you did it, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. That video that you did for Epilepsy Awareness Month is still to this day getting like millions and millions of views and
Wow.
interactions and comments. All from, for you to do that 30-second commercial, that was maybe quick and easy, move on to your next a million things that you do on your day. But for the epilepsy community, like, it's still to this day, I mean, it's October, almost October, and several years later, and that video is still getting that amount of views like you did it yesterday. And if you
Yeah.
didn't know that, I want to make sure you know
Yeah, that's
that it's
cool.
really amazing what you did. And then in the sense of, like, you've created you wore a shirt, both you and your daughter were kind enough to wear a shirt for the Purple Warrior campaign. And then, of course, donating the wrestling boots. I just want to take this time. I know I've thanked you in private, and I know you're a humble guy that doesn't need all this, but I just really wanted to thank you on behalf of the Canadian Epilepsy Alliance, the 25 epilepsy organizations across Canada. Like,
Wow.
I really want to thank you for, putting up with my nerdiness of wrestling. I love wrestling, but more importantly, why we're here to help talk about epilepsy awareness and what you're doing for the epilepsy community. Even for a person like you said you knew about it through school and childhood, but for you to not, you don't have epilepsy, you don't have a direct family member with epilepsy, but for you to just do all this amazing work for epilepsy, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you very much. It's nice.
Well, I appreciate your time and thank you so much. I guess I'll give you the last word in the sense of what's next for you in the sense of goals and even with respect to Battle Arts Academy, which is here in Mississauga. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, this year is when I turned 50 this year, my focus became just on having as much fun as possible. And 2024 has been an incredible year of doing new things for the first time and really focusing on the things I love to do. I'm building a tree house right now for my son, well, my kids, and I've never done that before. And you know, some of the experiences I had this year traveling to Japan and wrestling in Italy and wrestling in London, working with my daughter and facing the great legend Sakuraba in Japan was incredible. I competed in my first jiu-jitsu tournament. So still just trying to do new things, new fun things and keep it fresh. And that's going to be my philosophy for the next 10 years, just try to maintain that youth as long as I can, and health is wealth, right?
And for those that don't know anything about Battle Arts Academy, what would you say to them? Like, give the sort of
Yeah,
30-second commercial for Battle Arts Academy.
if you live in Mississauga, I mean, we do. So our main programs right now, it's jiu-jitsu for adults, for kids, uh, amateur wrestling for, like high school age kids, college kids, small kids, which is an incredible base sport. And then we have a great boxing program, a great Thai boxing program, uh, and of course, professional wrestling. We've been there now, gosh, we've been there 11 years. So, you know, you learn, make mistakes, you grow, you pivot. But where it's at right now is the greatest version of battle arts I've ever seen, and it's awesome to walk in there and just see all these people. So the sports are the medium in which you use to develop that, discipline, that push yourself, that never give up attitude, and of course you're learning a pretty cool skill while you're training, but it's really just the fact that you are training and participating in something, whatever it is, whichever sport fits the best, you use that sport to grow and put your best version of yourself out there. So, if you're the type of person that wants to find the best version of yourself and develop the best version of yourself, Battle Arts is a place. It's very nourishing. There's a lot of support and discipline, and you can feed off the excitement and energy of other people when you walk in there. And it's a place where dreams are not only chased, they're caught and they're achieved. And it's a wonderful place.
Now, you can totally tell me no to this, but as Santino, what would you say to encourage the public to be more informed about epilepsy?
Oh, that's a good question. What would I say as Santino? Well, I think it's important to, one, put yourself in other people's shoes and situations, and also to be mindful and grateful, because there's people out there that just functioning normally on a daily basis, it's a lot more difficult than other people. And people often complain for the smallest little inconvenience, and where they should be consistently reminded of how grateful they should be. And I think people that have severe cases of epilepsy, life is tough. It's not easy, And for people that don't have it, be grateful. Be grateful and don't complain so much. You know what I mean? Like everyone just has this really negative view of the world sometimes. I don't know if it's too much television or social media or whatever it is, but it's not all bad all the time, man. It's not all bad, and we can start by breaking down to the simplest things and building up our foundation of gratefulness from we, one, being alive, and two, you know, living here and trying to get outdoors. And if your only interaction with society is with humans, you may have that doom and gloom mentality right now, and because you're fed that constantly. So try and get outdoors, try and get out in nature, and when you get out in nature, you'll see everything is okay, everything is as it should be, and it's not all falling apart at the seams like television would want you to believe, you know. So, yeah, gratefulness. It's not as bad as we're made to think it is.
That was beautiful. I don't want to say anything to wreck that last word. That's a beautiful way to wrap this up. I thank you so much for your time, and you haven't said no to the epilepsy community when we've reached out to you. I thank you again. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really thank you for doing that video, for wearing a Purple Warrior shirt to both you and your daughter. And again, thank you for donating those wrestling boots to one of our local epilepsy organizations. Thank you for putting a spotlight on epilepsy awareness. I know the epilepsy community thanks you. I thank you. The 25 Epilepsy Organization, thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you do for the epilepsy community.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Thank you so much for your time.
You too.